ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। गजाननं भूतगणातिसेवितं कपित्थजम्बूफलसारभक्षितं उमासुतं शोकविनाशकारकं नमामि विघ्नेश्वरपादपङ्कजम्। ॐ श्रीमहागणपतये नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। ॐ तत्सत्। So today is Shankatahara Chaturthi. So I did a small slogan for Anisha. Yes. So last class we were discussing something, and there was a question about uh, meat and Kshatriyas eating meat. I think Kannan was asking. So we can continue with that. And any other questions you had during the week, we can start with that and proceed the class. So kindly unmute whoever raises hands or everybody. Yes.
Vanakkam.
You might have to be slightly louder.
Should I ask the
You
question
can come
again?
on video also, no problem.
Yeah, okay. Should I say the question again?
Yes, you said we will. Yes, you say the question again, and then put a joinder that what aspect we need to continue upon, and then we will continue.
All right. So you were saying based on what we do, the food can be understandable. However, Kshatriya is not like there's nobody is like Kshatriya, real Kshatriya here as of now in terms of hunting and then eating and then like warrior. I mean, warriors are there, but not really like how it was Kshatriya style. So just by born or like having the character of a Kshatriya, they say I'm a Kshatriya, so I will do this. It's okay, that kind of twisting the truth, as you may say, that kind of understanding is there. So how to like understand, okay, this is Kshatriya, this is not Kshatriya. Just being born in a way is not the way, or just having the nature of aggression or like power doesn't mean that Kshatriya. So in that case, the food. In understanding yoga, sattvic food is my understanding. So how to manage this understanding of
what is your understanding? Sorry, I talked in the middle.
Yoga is towards sattva,
yes,
sattvic based. So for that, how to reduce or what is the limit of going to the other kind of food? Or please elaborate on that, please. Thank you.
Before I go into the discussion, we are going to do it like a discussion because from what I know, I think you came from a non-vegetarian background and shifted completely to vegetarian and vegan.
I wouldn't say vegan, but yes, I don't take milk items. If it is from teachers and temple, I would get it. So, I don't say myself
but mainly vegetarian.
Yes.
Right. So you converted to complete vegetarian once you started the practice of yoga.
Correct.
Right. Good. So I'm going to ask you, what did you feel like? Did you feel like missing? How it was feeling and all that? Those inputs, if you give, will be useful for those people who are meat eaters to make a decision. Right. So we will go into that after I discuss the concept. So I will discuss the concept now, and then you give your inputs also. If there are others with non-vegetarian background, both currently and before, if you have a conflict, so Kannan doesn't seem to have a conflict. So he has decided, and he has been a vegetarian for, I think, 2 decades now, easily. And coming from a family of non-vegetarian meat eaters. So he's going to give his inputs on the positive side. And if there are any people who are facing difficulties, they can give that and we can discuss that. Because why I am giving an exclusive slot for this is because food is extremely important and it is one of the main uh, sources of conflict in people who want to take up the spiritual life and the yogic life, practice of yoga, practice of sadhana, different sadhanas, to take it up seriously. So this is one of the main difficulties they face and one of the main topics that require the right understanding. So we should neither be on the stigma against non-vegetarian food, nor completely, brushing under the carpet all the uh, factors of concern in a lifestyle that includes eating meat from the point of view of spiritual development. So we have to address both. Just like how we approach every aspect of dharma, the dharma of food also has to take into consideration desha, where we are, kala, the time, both in an individual's life and in collective social life, and patra, for who. This for who has two things. For whom is the discipline? Has two aspects to it. One is karma, another is purusha. So these terms, what does it practically mean? Whatever you are born with, whatever is your capital, the family we are born with, the culture we inherit, the tendencies and the samskaras, the tendencies, the likes and dislikes, the preferences, all these come under karma. Now, what is purushartha is your goal. Where are you going towards? What would you like to achieve? If I have obesity, I have a samskara for eating more food. If my goal is to lose weight, I cannot eat more food. I cannot eat sweets, for example. Right? So, whatever control we do for the diet has to be in connection with the goal. So, when we say patra, the person, when we are talking about to eat meat or not, especially Kshatriya, so the Dharma gives an allowance for Kshatriya. Right now, what is a Kshatriya? Kshatriya is basically a person, any person with predominant Rajoguna. And second, number two, Sattva number three, Tamoguna in the Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Okay. So that is the now predominant Rajoguna in nature, guna, and the vocation the person has chosen, the lifestyle, the job that the person has chosen is in accordance with the guna or the quality. Suppose if this person has of a Kshatriya temperament means the person with a highly aggressive, rajasic, ambitious, principled, because this number two is sattva. Being sattva, the aggression is a principled aggression. It is a righteous force. No? The person's predominant way of being is force, but that force is wedded to righteousness. So that is Kshatriya. The force is not wedded to personal gratification, not just ego, personal gratification, uh, pleasure, grabbing things. No, so that would be tamas. So a person, force of aggression and the devotion and the nature, the behavior, the tendencies, the qualities are connected to values and principles about oneself. They are more important than me. The country is more important than me. The honor is more important than my pleasure. So these kind of virtues, these are typical Kshatriya virtues. So they are ready to undertake or go through a lot of trouble for the sake of a higher ideal. So, and their way is fighting for a higher ideal, both inside and outside. So that is basically a Kshatriya temperament. No. So that is the warrior temperament. A warrior temperament doesn't mean only you have weapons and all that. So basically, it is the concept we need to understand. Ready to fight for a cause. Whoever is able to do that, and whose main way of dedicating oneself is fighting. In the sense, both intellectual fighting, for example, Sri Rajiv Malhotra is using the term nowadays, he calls it intellectual Kshatriya. So the way the intellect is employed is for the sake of establishing a certain order of thought and a certain rhetoric to take control of the rhetoric. All that is still Kshatriya, intellectual Kshatriya, he calls. So we have physical Kshatriya and like that. So basically the temperament I'm talking about. Now, the person is in a lifestyle that requires this temperament and is having the inherent nature. But the person's goal, personal goal, Purushartha, suppose if that person's goal is cultivating the sadhana, Chatuštaya, Viveka, Vairagya, etc., towards moksha, and the person is dedicated to the job in the spirit of karma yoga. We discussed all these things. So the person is dedicated to the job in the spirit of karma yoga in the sense that person understands one's own nature, understands the nature of the job, and continues to express his dharma and continues to be devoted to the whatever is the calling, for the sake of using it as an act of devotion to the Lord, for the sake of yoga, for the sake of cultivating Chitta Shuddhi. So in this angle, if you say, that is the goal. When this is the goal, when yoga is the goal, though the person is in active life, the person's trajectory is towards renunciation. So, eating meat may be permitted for the person, but that person can choose not to eat. It is not mandatory. So here is where the difference comes. When Shastra says meat is allowed for Kshatriya, that person can choose whether to eat or not. It is not a binding condition that if he is having this lifestyle, he needs to eat meat. There is nothing like that. So this person wants to become more and more sattvic, but at the same time has to maintain that dedication to life. So based on the demand of their work, based on the demand of their social circle, based on the demand their role has on them, based on the demand of the role that they have to play, they should be okay with eating meat if the role demands it. If the person is in the right role, the right person in the right role, if the role demands it, they don't have to have a stigma. If they don't like it, again, see, I don't like meat, but in such a situation, I will have to consume a little bit. That's very different from I like to have meat. So I am using my Kshatriya nature as an excuse to eat more meat. Simply because my motivation is what? My motivation is the enjoyment of the eating meat. My motivation is not having a neutral attitude towards eating meat if it is required for playing my role. So this is the difference. So the attitude towards meat is decided based on their purushartha. If the person is devoted to yoga, obviously the recommendation is to minimize meat and eliminate if possible. Because for a person to have enlightenment, for a person to progress in the path towards moksha, towards self-realization, there is absolutely no argument, there is absolutely no confusion regarding not eating meat. Through No, there is a Tirukkural. There is a Tirukkural. 10 Kurals. There is an Adhikaram in Tirukkural. He dedicates only to rejecting meat. 10 Kural Pulal Marthal, it's called. 10 Kurals only for this topic. Because he comes under the lineage of Siddhas and all that, still Tirukkural is trying to deal with Dharma, Artha, Kama, not even Moksha. Basically, Aram, Porul, Lingam is Dharma, Artha, Kama, right? So in that context, he brings this. So, and also we have seen a lot of great intellectuals, very saintly people, contemplative people, those who are in tune with the higher reality, all of them have recommended avoiding eating meat. Literally says, for the sake of growing one's own flesh, if you are eating some other living being's flesh by killing it, by disrupting its way of life and killing it and eating it, how can that person expect to command grace? In the sense, how can that person expect their mind to be available for grace? Yenganam alum arul. Arul in the sense, arul is the divine grace. Basically, that is the impersonal divine love that connects everything and runs this universe. It's called grace, arul. So that arul will not, the divine grace will not be accessible for the person. So the person will be more, why it's not accessible? The more we eat meat, the more we are going to be in the grip of emotions, in the grip of ego, in the grip of the instincts, and the animal mind will have an upper hand over the discernment. The same aggression which is useful for getting things done will cloud our intellect. So this person should always take an advice and obey. The person should obey the advice of a saintly person. But if this person is the Kshatriya temperament person is hoping to become better and better in their inner life, to grow in their virtue of detachment, discrimination, etc. Absolutely, there is no confusion regarding progressively minimizing and eliminating. So by the time they are done playing their role and all that, they should be absolutely okay. When they don't have to, when the situation does not demand, they must not crave for meat and try to avoid as much as possible. So that is the basic attitude. So there is no confusion regarding that. And we will be able to approach this from the angle of Purushartha. If the person's Purushartha is spiritual, he has a spiritual goal of moksha, then there is no doubt that the person has to gradually eliminate and get rid of eating meat. There is no doubt about that. But if the Purushartha is not moksha, if the Purushartha is only Dharma, Artha, Kama, then this person need not be restricted. Because meat will not interfere in his Dharma, it will not interfere in the Artha and Kama. That is the whole point. But if your goal is moksha, eating meat will interfere in your pursuit of moksha. That is why, when you do the tapasya, when they do tapasya, depending on the goal, the tapasya, the diet is recommended. So if you see the Shastra, it is very clear. What lifestyle, what food we are going to eat is connected to the result that we want to achieve. What we want, what are we working towards? What are we applying in? What direction are we applying ourselves? That is going to decide the diet discipline, and not just, there is no absolute principle. So when people go into yoga, generally if we have an Ashtanga yoga, we have what is called as Yama and Niyam. In Yama and Niyama, we have Ahimsa. So for a person who has taken what is called as the Mahavratam, this Raja Yoga, Patanjali Yoga Sutra, talks about Mahavratam, the great vow. That is not for everybody. So this is the whole misunderstanding. Everybody is not required to take the Mahavratam. Only a renunciate is required to take the Mahavratam. So this is the big misunderstanding. If a person is not a renunciate or is not dedicated in the path towards renunciation, one need not commit to complete non-violence. But if the person wants to arrive at renunciation or has taken the vow of renunciation, then non-violence is absolute, and there is absolutely no doubt about completely, entirely avoiding meat. Even if one has to die out of hunger, one should not touch meat. That is the person who has taken the Mahaprabhu. So the Yama also changes according to the person. What Patanjali says is that he gives you the benchmark. What is the best benchmark Patanjali gives? Says Patanjali gives. Now, according to our own individual level and according to our goal and according to the level of dedication possible, according to the permissiveness or the permission and the practicality of one's way of life and culture, one has to design the level of commitment, keeping in mind that one has to constantly improve in the level of commitment towards Yama and Niyama. So the spirit is very important. So it is not about following it to the letter, it is about following it to the spirit. So when a person is dedicated to the spirit of non-violence, when the person is dedicated to the value of non-violence, and when the person is dedicated to the purpose of cultivating a sattvic mind, obviously the person has to respect the fact that eating meat and sattvic mind don't go together. This is an understanding they have to have and work based on. And the recommendation has to be given on a case-by-case basis. So we cannot give a blanket recommendation telling, for example, there are some yoga teachers who are very, I also like that. Before I really got the practical understanding of how things work. First, you stop eating meat. Then I will start teaching yoga. It doesn't work. Then what will happen? They will end up with some other yoga teacher who is ready to accommodate all that, and they will completely go in the wrong track. So if the right teaching is available with us and the person wants it, so we have to see how to gradually bring the disciple or the student towards the right teaching. How to gradually increase the standard of the person. If you say, if you give a blanket rule in one shot, that unless it's 0 or 1, unless you do this, you cannot begin anything. First do this. So what we can do is we can have a discussion and then design what is the level of discipline that person is able to follow immediately and tweak the practice according to that. So if this is what is the lifestyle commitment you can give me, this is what is the practice you are qualified to do. So if you are going to eat regularly some fish, I don't want to eat, but I cannot live without fish. That is the Bengalis and probably Japanese. So they have this cultural food that they just can't get rid of. Very difficult. It's like asking a Brahmin, Tamil Brahmin not to eat curd rice. I always look at that. If I want to become vegan, somebody says no dairy, it doesn't enter my head. No dairy, what no dairy? The problem is the dairy industries, all the drama that goes on in the dairy industry. So I will try to buy organic milk. I will try to buy farm cow milk, and where the cows are not tortured, I will try to buy from a local guy who has a cow, and then I will make my own yogurt. I can try all that. But the mind will always look for how to have yogurt and milk. The mind cannot think of a possibility of the rest of my life. I will not see yogurt. I will not see milk. This vegan thing. So, I cannot consume it. It's very difficult. So I have to push myself, and it creates a huge psychological inconvenience. So seeing this, I develop empathy for the same situation in the case of a traditional meat eater or somebody who has some meat as a cultural food, or or somebody who has to eat some fish or whatever. We have to say, okay, this is your lifestyle. You design it for yourself. This is all the practice that you can do. You cannot do more. This much you can do. These are the practices not allowed, so don't try them. So let us see how it goes and let's see the person's dedication. And even a little bit of practice, whatever is according to their food, it will start improving the sensitivity. It will start increasing the awareness. It will start, slowly they can restrict it. And instead of having it whenever they like, they can start having it only whenever they cannot socially avoid. Slowly like that, they can go. For example, somebody like, I have one student who is, in a country where they have a specific, I think they eat a pig on Easter. This Romania, the country is called Romania. There, the person eats I think they have that for Easter or Christmas, I forgot. So one of the occasions, very important for them. And it's a ritual kind of thing. They have to do that. And similarly, and there is this egg. Now, this person doesn't eat, but on that Easter or whatever is a very important day, the whole family comes and has together. And then there is this dead pig on the table. He has to, if he refuses, the old parents and all that, the big sentiment. Now, suddenly, already this guy started doing yoga. It's a huge thing in the family. He does not make a big deal. He has a little bit of wine and a little bit of that just to make sure that there is no big drama there. But the rest of the days, he doesn't have. No, I cannot. So what he does, the day he has meat because of socio-cultural, family, and all these reasons, he does not do kumbhaka for 21 days. 3 weeks he cannot do kumbhaka, or 1 week he cannot do kumbhaka. He will do pranayama without kumbhaka. And certain dharanas he will not do. For example, he will not do dharana here. He will do dharana only here or in the navel. So like that, there are some rules we are at that. So he take care of those rules, and then based on that he practices. So now, if you put a blanket, completely, so the person gets demotivated, and then what will happen is they're basically restless. So if you don't provide, they will go to whoever is ready to provide. And if we are trying to teach according to the Shastra, if we are trying to facilitate something according to the Shastra, according to the rules and according to the right approach, it is better for the person to be given some flexibility so that they are able to follow whatever they can follow. And then slowly they start following more and more. This is not a compromise on standards, but it is a compromise on the speed of the process. I would put it like that. So based on the diet, the practice has to say. That's why I said, if the person is eating meat, that puts a limitation on what the person can do. And the person can decide, oh, you want more? These are the rules. It's very simple. Why do you want more practice, more you want to do it? They will automatically feel the need. See, they feel the need for more intense sadhana. That means they have already arrived at a certain quality of mind. Then, leaving meat is the least of the worries. They will very easily leave it. If they are rebelling a lot, they are very insistent that I want to eat meat and this is justified and all that. And then they will give you quote also. They will quote scriptures. They will quote, say, in Rig Veda it talks about meat. The ancient rishis ate meat and all that. They will start saying Arjuna ate meat. So there's something called Yuga Dharma. So that they will not take into consideration. They'll start arguing for the sake of the desire. So when we see that, we can see for ourselves. When I am making an argument, I am making an argument for the sake of my desire. The force of my desire, is it pushing my argument? Or I don't have that force of desire and I'm trying to argue according to what are the facts and what is the spirit of the rule. So based on that, we can decide for ourselves. So that's how the approach. It's neither 0 or 1, but once having undertaken the path of yoga, the journey is always towards no meat. That is the journey. So each person can decide the speed in that journey. So that's how I approach. Now, regarding that, probably I can appreciate some practical inputs from the participants. Maybe Kamin can start with his input, and then maybe if there are other people who are something relevant to contribute in this diet chain, both as a student and as a teacher, you can give both inputs.
Okay, thanks for unmuting. Thank you for the elaborate explanation. So, what I should do now?
I was asking, how were your initial days? What was, how did you decide to give up meat? Simply because it is there in yoga and you just decided no meat from tomorrow and that's it because the guru says so. Was it like that? Or you saw that, let me try and see the benefits? How was it?
Sorry if I take too much time, but yes, actually, I remember the day I left, which is February 2nd, 2001. The teacher, when I met, actually, I was interested, not because of yoga and all. I was just some inferior complex teenager, just want to learn something to make strong or something to learn. And then this yoga teacher who I met. Is actually Silambam was the talk. So I said I want to learn Silambam. Then he said you need to learn first yoga. And like whatever I want to learn. Then I said I don't have money to give, so but I like to learn. Then he said, okay, then fees is non-veg. Like, actually, I'm very good non-vegetarian, like fish or anything. I don't leave any bones. Sorry to say that. Like I used to be like that, like even raw eggs, just for the name of strength. But when someone is offered this, then immediately I said okay. But then after I said okay, of course it was not easy.
Tell me
Family,
about that. So
family tradition.
you implemented a blanket restriction right from day one. No non-veg
Yes,
as a feast. You gave it to the teacher. Good.
yes,
So
and
how was the inner struggle? I would like to know.
in a struggle, of course, every Sunday there was a struggle. Like this is like a challenge every Sunday. Like everybody in the family will be eating non-veg, and among them, I had to eat rasam and soy chunks or something, soy fry, and then the smell. Like it's like a interesting challenge from very young age. But I just like I don't know. I just want to keep the word straight. That's all.
Good, but tell me the
Struggle.
uh, what? How was the system asserting itself? How was the instinct and the habit asserting? That's what.
I took the alternative, as I said, soya fry with the chicken masala. Masala is chicken masala, but meat is no, just the soy meat. Nowadays they say like the what is it, mock meat or something like that. That time I just asked my mother, Amma, make this soy fry with the chicken masala powder. And alternative is like feeling like chicken. My mother was good at that, so it tastes like chicken, but which means I was. It took 1 year for me to say it's okay. I can eat without that soy meat. So it took 1 year for me to come out of that taste,
Good.
wanting of that taste. So it took
That's a
1 year,
useful
solid
input.
1 year.
That's what useful.
Yes, yes, and also Siddha tradition. So they went beyond this, just meat, like no garlic, no ice cream, no this, no that. A lot of, and I was even saying no fermented food. So never had cheese till 23. So basically, maybe I was directly into the hardcore practitioners group, and so non-veg was the lightest thing to leave, and I was not feeling that I should have struggled to drop that one as the first thing to drop. So of course 1 year was the struggle, 1 year every week, and everybody knew that I'm very good at eating. So always they offered a lot, and I always had to say no. And so basic family stuff. Other than that, personally, I never knew the cake and things, so I never had that issues. Just the non-veg, like directly chicken, not directly fish, was the issue. Just practice every day and listen to the teachers. Whenever I had struggle, I went to the teacher. He didn't say like non-veg. He was not polished teacher. He was just saying, "Oh, do you want to eat the dead animals?" Like okay, that is dead animals. That was disgusting to say that. So I was like, okay, that's correct. He's right. So
Yeah,
simple
it's
as that.
useful to cut your mind from.
Correct,
You
correct.
don't think of chicken or mutton. You say it's a dead body. It's very easy to cut your mind out.
Yes. So the Siddha tradition directly like, you want to eat the dead body was the question. Like, no, I don't want to. So when some other people are like beginners who are like asking their struggle, and when the teacher was giving the answer very hardcore, I was like, no, 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 not for me. So it was easy in that case. So that's it.
So you're lucky that you had a lot of natural obedience. So because of that, you could manage
And my mother's soya fry, it was very helpful. So
that. True.
that's
And what
all.
about
Nothing much.
students that who come to learn yoga from you?
Well, I
Especially
was
when you teach
also
for foreigners and
first I kind of picked that directly I should not go and tell, even though I want to say directly like no non-veg for yoga practitioners. First, I don't say. Uh, I will start always in a workshop, say yoga diet. Then I will say something, and the topic will be covering the mitahara. And then I leave the topic in the workshop itself. So I will wait for the student to ask the question first. Whoever asks that question, there that begins. Then even though I may want to say 10 things, I will say 3 things and leave it. That techniques I learned from you and others. But so when someone wants to ask, first I used to be usually like urging to say everything I know. But then slowly maturity hits, and then I was like limiting myself not to say too much, 2 things, and then see the face and then leave it, and then let them ask the question. Some people ask just for the time killing questions. So I just say, those things you will know when you learn. That's what I say. But generally I say like it directly works with the mind, and I was very short tempered person. Now this happened to me. So I think this will, if it is for you, you can try and see. Maybe 3 months you can try, or I give some short term ideas, like
your time
try
slot
for a
for
month.
as a Vratam, and then see how it goes.
Yes,
They're ready
yes.
to
In
see.
relationship,
No benefit
that
potentials.
is yeah, in a relationship or something, I keep that as a kind of a condition for myself. I would say I wish this kind of a partner, but I can only kind with the vegetarian. I just say like that. I don't say you have to become vegetarian or something. I just say I wish a vegetarian partner. That's all. So who are interested, they will make some arrangements. So I don't say anything.
Right. One
So just
more.
some smart way of telling too many things, but limiting the
Right.
things. So they will ask the questions, not I go and tell them. So.
Right. Good. Okay. One more in the same connection, for vegetarians, do not eat onion, garlic, and mushroom. Okay, the list goes, but basically onion, garlic, mushroom are forbidden. If you are a pranayama practitioner, no sesame oil and no mustard and no tamarind. So that adds to that. But that is only for a small specific group who do Vasi Yoga, but not for the common people, commonly known as no onion, garlic. Rarely no asafoetida, but basically no onion, garlic. So when there were some youngsters who came, and so one of the gurus, the mentors I worked with, so that's one said, okay, like how you would say for meat, 3 months no onion, garlic. After that, you do pranayama and everything. And after 3 months, start having onion, garlic. And you tell me the difference. They had for 1 day after 3 months. They started, within 1 month, they started feeling very light. The mind is very light. The aggression is very less. Body feels very light. And then they started having again onion and garlic. They could feel the impact immediately, how much of tamas and the grossness it brings in the system. Instantly, they are able to recognize and why onion and garlic is considered equal to meat. They could see, because the body is not prepared, if it is not cleared of the thing, you cannot see. But if the body is, you remove the fact of onion and garlic or meat, whatever, and then you prepare the body, sensitize the body, and make it change the quality of the body, and then you bring it inside, they will clearly see actually what is the impact it is making. It is something like, we are always in the middle of a noisy neighborhood. We are used to talking loud because we are always in a noisy neighborhood. And people who are from countries where there is not much noise, they're always wondering why we are talking so loud. I noticed this. And myself, I noticed from a noisy neighborhood, when we go to a quiet neighborhood, suddenly we don't know. Like, we realize that it's possible to, we realize what means to have a quiet neighborhood. So it's very different. And then when we come back, whatever we were used to as okay feels extremely noisy now. Right. So the same thing like that. So every sense faculty, every input that we give into the body, so both the physical food or sensory food, sattva, rajas, tamas. So we have to first remove the tamas and rajas and create a space for us to become ready for appreciating the sattvic equivalent. And then after you have, developed enough sensitivity and attention and the sattva, then we go and try again and see how we will exactly see what the Why the Shastra is telling us to avoid? We'll exactly see that. Each one can do an experiment for themselves and then decide that is useful for my goal or not. So I remember it's even for vegetarians, onion and garlic made a huge difference. I just wanted to mention that. Anybody else has an input on this?
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else has an input on this? Good. Okay. So we finished that question. And I would like to discuss a small concept. Yes, last class, one lady asked about shlokas, chanting shlokas, and gets confused. This comes, not only this, there is another thing. When we take stotrams, shlokas, mantras from the tradition, we have a donkey attitude. The donkey attitude is, donkey carries the load. It doesn't know or understand the value of the load. Every day it carries the load from point A to point B and point B back to point A. It doesn't know what you put stone on its back, you put clothes on its back, you put bars of gold on its back. It's all the same for the donkey. For him, it's just load. So donkey mind is, some Shlotra says this, it is said. So we just listen. We have some Shraddha, we have some good faith and all that. And we obeying mind. We say, it says, oh, Shastra says, the book says, the elders have said, the masters have said, the Guruji has said, so we repeat, keep on repeating, more routine. It's okay up to a point. I'm not telling it's bad. It's good. It's better than not having Shraddha. It's okay up to a point, but there is a point where we have to wake up to the tatparya, why it is being said. What is said in that? A simple example, being Sankatahara Chaturthi, we can consider what is called as, in the, I think, Narada Purana, it's Shankata Nashana Ganapati Stotram. Pratamam Vakratundam Cha Ekadantam Dutiyakam, one shloka is there. It's called Shankata Nashana Ganapati Stotram. If you Google it, you will see a lot of YouTube videos, PDFs with meanings available. Trinam Yashara Sadevam Gauri Putram Vinayakam. There it comes, right? So now, that shloka, a lot of people repeat that. It says, I salute Lord Ganesha who when worshipped, the devotees get everything. Whatever they desire, their desires are fulfilled. Now, if a person remembers the following 12 names of Ganesha are to be remembered. First, Ekadantam. First, Vakradandam. Second, Ekadantam. Third, Krishna Pingaksham. Fourth, Gajavakram. Fifth, Lambodharam. Like that, it goes 12 names. Right? So, whoever remembers these 12 names and chants them in every Sandhya, three Sandhya. In three Sandhya, it means sunrise, midday, sunset. Whoever remembers and chants the Smarain Nityam. So, the one who remembers these 12 names during the Sandhya period will get the grace of Ganesha and all the desires will be fulfilled. The one who wants knowledge will get knowledge. The one who wants wealth will get wealth. The one who wants moksha will get, will be shown the right path. Like that it comes, right? The Palastuti. And then there is some Arthavara. Right. So this is the standard structure of all the stotras. Now, what does it mean? These 12 names, that's what the Stotra says. The Shloka says, these 12 names are to be remembered. So why are we then repeating like a donkey the entire stotra? It's not required. First, we are also repeating. When we say Padamavakradundam cha Ekadantam Dvimam, like that, then we repeat. We are telling first it is Vakradunda, second it is Ekadanta, third it is Krishna Pindaksha. You translate in English and repeat how stupid does it sound. Because we don't understand the meaning, we are just continuing like the carrying the load, just repeat without thinking. But when we understand the meaning of the stotra, what it means, we have to extract the 12 names. What are the 12 names? Vakratundam, Ekadantam, Krishnapingaksham, Gajavaktam, Lambodaram, Katam Vitnarajam, Dhumravarnam, Bhalachandram, Vinayakam, Ganapatim, Gajanam. These are the 12 names. To be remembered during every Sandhya. It's very easy. So we have to just memorize these 12 names in this order and repeat them 3 times, 5 times, 11 times, 18 times, 27 times. We can repeat. Or we can also incorporate it into pranayama, whatever. So we have to think of each name, and each name has a meaning. Vakratunda means the one with the curved trunk. And there is a lot of qualities that associate. If you read the literature about Lord Ganesha, there are a lot of qualities that are associated with Vakratunda. What is this Vakratunda about? Ekadanta, what are the qualities? What is the story and what things associated with Ekadanta? Then what is Krishnapingaksha? Then what is Gajavaktra, the face of an elephant? Lambodara, the one with the big belly. So Vikata, the one with the tremendous wit, basically intelligence. Vignaraja, the one who is the lord of obstacles, one who is capable of removing all the obstacles. Dhumravarna, one who is of the color of the smoke. Bhalachandra, the one who is wearing the crescent moon on his forehead. The one who is without any lord, Vinayaka, or the one who is Ganapati, the lord of all the celestial beings, and also all the manifest beings, all the created beings, all the living things. Then Gajanana. So we have the 12 names in this order. So we study the meaning, we memorize the 12 names, we remember the 12 names thinking of Lord Ganesha, and feeling the meaning of each word, we repeat the 12 names in every Sandhya, sunrise, midday, sunset. So that's what we have to do. This is what is told in the stotra. Similarly, we have in every stotra, we have in a lot of mantras everywhere, we have an instruction, we have a chanting or an invocation or a mantra embedded with a set of instruction on how to use it and apply it. We have a knowledge that is packaged in the form of a chant. See, the whole chant is meant for preserving this knowledge and passing it on from culturally passing it on to the next generations. That is very good. We need to preserve that. While we preserve that, for personal practice, we need to extract the practice out of a literature. And then we have to apply the practice, understanding what it means and understanding how it impacts us and to developing the right habit. So unless we do that, there are two things happening. Sometimes we may not get the result. Or other times, we are developing the donkey attitude. We develop donkey attitude. More and more we apply, we approach spiritual practices in a donkey attitude. What happens? We will start picking up all the unnecessary things, and we are primarily driven by fear. The common man, the crowd, the mass, the crowd spirituality, herd mentality, donkey mentality, and herd mentality. With that, we go into the spiritual practices. This is the religious crowd. Every religion has this crowd. You have them in Christians, you have them in Muslims, you have them in Hindus, in Buddhists. You have this herd mentality people. So we don't have to do that. Once you are consciously striving, the first thing, once we are consciously striving for Viveka, Vairagya, Sadhana, Chatushtaya, and we are getting ready for moksha, first thing we have to do is to get rid of donkey attitude in spirituality and the herd mentality. Don't simply follow the crowd. Try to understand, study, understand what it means and extract the meaning, and let us try to appreciate and understand and live the meaning in our everyday lives. That is extremely important. So this is a huge culture with so many currents. This is Sanatana Dharma. It's like an ocean. You have so many currents of practices and wisdom and knowledge and packaging, so many types of practices, so many types of packaging, the same knowledge packaged for in innumerable number of ways for so many types of people. It's an ocean of spiritual wisdom, but it is given in a certain style, right? So it is very important to extract the wisdom from the packaging. So the religious packaging contains a wisdom. So we need to extract the wisdom from the religious packaging. It's like an Amazon package. Somebody gives you a stotra, do Parayanam of this stotra, somebody gives you. You take that. Oh, they gave this. The Amazon package has come. I don't remove. I ordered something online, it's come. I don't remove. Oh, I have got it. Oh, I have this. I have got it. This package is a beautiful package. This package contains this item. Let us say some body lotion. The body lotion is made of this. The body lotion is made of that. Whoever is applying the body lotion, their skin will become like silk. Blah blah blah. Right? Array, open the package. Take the body lotion. Use. It is not there for doing puja. So similarly, we have to take a package. The packaging as a process. It is important to preserve spiritual wisdom through cultural transmission. It is extremely important. But more important than that for my personal practice and development, the authentic true spiritual development, more important than that is for me to see what the packaging contains. What is the wisdom and how I can benefit from it and how I can apply it and how I am supposed to appreciate it and how I am supposed to apply it in my everyday life. Right? So I gave a small example of the Shankaranasana Ganapati Stotra. That each one of us can inquire sincerely into what we are doing in terms of this is called bridging the gap between what is told and what we are supposed to get out of that and what we are practicing and how it is ought to be. So are we really trying to own up the spiritual wisdom that is given, or are we simply carrying it? So are we just donkeys who are carrying the cultural baggage to pass it on to the next generation? Only that, or maybe I have an intelligence and I can also benefit from it. While passing on the cultural heritage to the next generation, am I also trying to open up the package and see what is inside and see if I can also benefit? And then if I pass on, then I am passing it on with much more significance, much more meaning, and much more relevance, and with an ability to facilitate a better appreciation of the spiritual wealth that is in our religious package. The spiritual wealth hidden inside can be much better appreciated by the next generation. Otherwise, what happens? We are creating more donkeys. The donkey of the next generation, my son, my daughter will also become donkey, carry the same weight, pass it on. So nobody gets benefited. And then there is one guy among the millions who start thinking, hey, what is this all about? And then starts going into that. That person takes the wisdom and benefits. That's wonderful. But we can do better. No, we don't. All of us are preserving this wonderful culturally preserved spiritual wisdom, packaged and preserved spiritual wisdom, to create one rare, some monster who comes, one in a million person become the master. Why that person becomes the master? Because he cared to see what's in the package and then take it and benefit from it. But all of us can do that. So we don't have to be donkeys carrying the cultural baggage and passing it on to the next generation. You can try to delve into it and see what it has. Maybe if I can benefit from it. And the main blockage that sustains this donkeyhood, this herd mentalities, they are all Mahatmas, they are all great people. It is all meant for Mahatmas, not for us simpletons. We are simple people. We are meant to, we are just meant to eat and, we continue our stupid life and die. Then we are actually insulting the culture. We are insulting the culture. We are insulting the Shastra when we say, I am ordinary, I am good for nothing. All this is meant for Mahatmas. And only those people are supposed to do. Who am I? I am an ordinary person. I am supposed to do my Parayana every day. I am supposed to do this every day. That's the typical humble, middle class, humble herd mentality, donkey attitude. It is called devotee. The devotees are like this. A devotee means a humble devotee. Humble devotee will continue to be donkey and not try to, see what's going on. I'm just exaggerating. It's not all devotees are like. Devotion is an attitude. So what I'm telling as a devotee, I'm using in a specific sense. I'm not just selling all devotees as donkeys, please. So this is what I'm trying to say. So this attitude we have to first get rid of. The spiritual wisdom is not meant for Mahatma. It's meant for everybody. The one who owns up that wisdom becomes a Mahatma. Right? So this is meant for making every Duratma a Mahatma. Not some, so it is not simply just, you do it. So that's what this, so another thing that encourages this is this Punya Papa discourse. Whoever, every day I am doing Sundarakandam Parayana. Every such and such day I am doing Lalita Sahasranam. I am doing Parayana. So I will get punya. I am doing some punya karma. Okay, fine. Is that all? Can there be more? Why are you satisfied with a little bit of punya baggage? That is because of mental laziness. So this is called pramada. Carelessness and alasha, mental laziness. We are not, because once you go into the wisdom is going to shake up your foundation. It is going to make you ask a lot of uncomfortable questions about yourself, about the people around you, about your lifestyle, about my value structure, about my goals. It's going to make you ask question about everything. Because the wisdom is going to make me question everything. I am lazy. I don't want. I'm very satisfied being a dog. I keep doing parayana, whatever some punya. I am a good person. Everybody respects me. I also feel good about. I don't have much guilt. It's like this Christian going to Sunday church. The rest of the 6 days, he will be like a number one role. On Sunday, he will go to church and confess and come. If you ask any Christian clergy or a person who has really studied, a priest or a monk, the person will say this is not about. It's about imitation of Christ and all that. They have their own thing. So similarly, if you go to Buddhism, you have rice bag monks who are called rice bags. They are there. They become monks because they get free food. They're eating and chit chatting, and then they know they have memorized. They need to they need to be a part. They have to play a role in running the ashram. So they memorize some Dharmapada, some Pali Sutras, and all that. They keep chanting. So each Buddhist school preserves certain aspect. And there are these right back monks who are playing a small role. They're contented with that. They don't want to go beyond. They don't do enough meditation, inquiry. They don't study difficult logic. I'm satisfied. This is a mediocre attitude. So the same thing in Sanatana Dharma, we have mediocre attitude. I just do this. I do parayana. That's it. I'm okay. I don't go into. So preserving the cultural package is good, but it is not good enough if we really want to progress. If we want to spiritually progress, we have to open the cultural religious package and see what is inside and see how we can own up that wisdom. How we can own up that meaning and make it a living reality. So that is one of the fundamental things. And for that, we have to stop saying that this is all meant for the great souls. Each one of us is potentially a Mahatma. Each one of us is a potential Jivan Mukta. And we have to own up that fact and start living up to it. This is absolutely essential if we really want to make any genuine progress. And let us strive to go beyond packaging and let us strive to be a little more than a donkey and see what are we carrying in this wonderful cultural baggage and package that we are carrying in the name of Sanatana Dharma. Let us delve into each one of that and see what it has to offer me. Let us extract the wisdom, live the wisdom, and benefit from the wisdom. Right. So with this note, I will finish the class with the Shanti Mantra. And maybe I can give 5 minutes for any other questions. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purna Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamada Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat. Thank you. Any questions? None. Okay. Thank you. I think we can stop.